Hello everyone, I would like to share my experience with you about AML-based trainer Osama Mahmoud. I have taken AML CFT course and I'm taking right now Global Sanctions course with him. I'm a master's degree holder in human resources management from UK and a PhD candidate living in Germany. So I would be reviewing the course for you from an HR point of view. Basically, how would an HR professional review a course or a training? I would be skipping the general highlights of the course, such as the course is exactly punctual with 0 times of delays or postponing. And the trainer Osama has full control over the online class in spite of the differences in nationalities, backgrounds, time zones, professions of the audience, of the participants. My review is as follows. So, um, the visual memory. The course is going to be demonstrated on an Excel sheet. Um, Osama would be talking, explaining, and typing in the same time, which would help us to develop a visual memory of what we are seeing. He's not going to be typing every single word that he says, but more of, for example, A, B, C. A would have to do 1, 2, 3, and like this. So you would get a block like that, and it's going to be very easy to remember, just like scanning a picture in the head. A special note I would like to pass here is that the minute you attend those sessions, you would notice that there is a tremendous amount of effort invested in those sessions prior to demonstrating them to us live online. Why is that? Because every single cell in that Excel sheet, every row, every column has a purpose. There is nothing left spontaneously like that or skipped spontaneously like that. If he leaves 4 rows, then there will be like 4 points, and they have to be after each other. Um, at the end of the session, you would be getting a copy of that um, Excel sheet. We will be working on the same Excel sheet, and to be precise, on the same spreadsheet, one spreadsheet from the beginning of the course until the very last day. We'll be working on the same spreadsheet and documenting all of the information while he is explaining on it, and he will be sharing it with us. By the end of the course, you would get um, a piece of art, actually, I would say, literally a piece of art, where there will be no time where he would be like, oh, we should have inserted one more row or one more column from here, and then you would have everything mixed. You would not understand me unless you see what I'm talking about. So there is nothing spontaneous, and there is tremendous amount of preparation prior to online demonstrating. This is for sure. Then we would get the audio memory, auditory memory. Basically, I'll talk about myself. I come from no banking or AML background. So the terminologies, the terms that I use are completely different. It's basically having someone, we are working in a hospital and we would like to hire someone customer service. We get someone from a hotels background, customer service hotels background, and we hire him, and he would be calling the patients customers. That's horrible. And this is exactly what I was doing when I raised questions, for example. And there I would get an immediate correction to avoid any kind of ears pollution, for example. So by the end of the course, you would be able to detect the right words because you would use only what you are hearing and only what we were using. You cannot just use any vocab just right and left. One of my very favorite words, for example, is ultimate. When I and I was kind of notified about it, and when I revised the course now at the end of that we are done with the AML CFT course, I would notice that ultimate is mentioned only 2 times in the whole course. Either ultimate beneficial owner or the ultimate responsibility of the AML culture is of the compliance culture is on the board of directors. So he would help us to use the right terminologies. You could easily bluff anyone as if you've been working in this profession for like 10 years because you will be just concentrated, focused, and you know what you're doing and you know what words you are using, and it is very, you get familiar with the whole industry, let's say. Uh, then there will be the memory in general. The memory in general. The very first session would be about giving us a plan about how to study. You're not going to be left on your own, and he would be delivering the course, and it's up to you whether you understand, you develop a mechanism to retain information or to learn by heart or to understand. It's not going to be like that. You're going to be given a decent learning plan, and the very first 4 sessions, sometimes 6 sessions, depends on the course, are going to be called like the foundation phase. During this phase, he would be preparing us. So preparing us in terms of the portion of the information, in terms of the portion of the time. The length of the session is going to be like 2 hours, and it goes a little bit more with the time, like session after session, until we end up with 5 hours. Yeah, 5 hours. And he would be like knitting a story for us. So for someone like me, coming from no banking or compliance AML background, he would start with me from the very basic. The minute the customer thinks of being a customer, thinks of going to the bank and opening an account, until we sue that customer, if I'm allowed to say. So he would teach us from the very beginning. For me, it was very interesting. And I wasn't really asking questions at the beginning because I was afraid that, I'm new and I would bother the others because they are professionals. But I was noticing the professionals asking questions. Why? They are professionals, yeah, okay, but he would be talking and tackling every small detail. So we are having a even though we are having professionals from this field, they would be missing something, either the process itself or the right terminology of that process. So it's never boring for the professional ones, and it's never complicated for someone with no background in banking or compliance AML like me. This is the foundation, and then we start digging deep. And then so at the beginning it's going to be like 2 classes per week. Then it's going to be 1 class per week, and it's more than sufficient because of the amount of information, the amount of reading that we are supposed to be done with. And it's just too much. And we would have to raise questions. We would be given sufficient time to raise questions, usually at the beginning and at the end of the session, because it's the time, if you are attending, you would be able to ask, or if you have questions when you studied home, at the beginning of the session, and upon completion of every part, so of each part. So he would be explaining a part, and then he would ask if there's any questions. So this is how deep it's gonna get. And talking about Osama, I mean, I'm not gonna really talk much about him. You can just browse his profile, you would know a lot. But he's a polished, seasoned compliance and AML professional who's maintaining the academic and the professional, the field experience, the academic experience and the field experience. So there's nothing that you could ask him and he's not gonna answer. He has something very important, that is the willingness to share information. So, considering that he is a seasoned compliance manager, then definitely he's not going to just give the course and let you go like that. No. Because one of the very important elements to make sure that anti-money laundering training is successful is to test the attendees, test the participants, test their knowledge, and know how much did they retain from it, or do we have to redo the training or something. So he would test us. Um, he would be giving us 500 questions. This is what happened actually, 500 cases with 50 rules scenarios, and we were supposed to match the right rules and scenarios to the cases. Up to my knowledge, I am not aware of any courses, not even in the bank itself, where there would be um, familiarizing the people about scenarios, especially that I come from no background like that. I don't know if I worked in a bank when they would be training me about scenarios. And it's not one scenario. Actually, the cases where where the total effort of many compliance managers and AML professionals around the globe, that they have contributed to this Excel sheet of those cases. You could easily recognize that by noting the currency. Noticing the currency that they are using. For example, you would read the case and you would know whether this is coming from a compliance manager in Dubai or from States or from Germany, UK. You could identify that. You could know, and it is not optional not to do them. And once you do them, upon completion of those 500 cases with the scenarios and rules, then you will be eligible for the 700 questions. That those are questions, like questions with ABC, sometimes until F, multiple answers, and you're supposed to do them 2 times, and completely and fully 2 times. Meaning, I would answer the first 700 questions, and I would compare my answers to his answers and see what is the percentage of my understanding, let's say, of how many were right or how many were wrong. I'm not gonna take the right out and just redo the wrong ones. No, I would have to do all of them again, because he wants to know, are you sure that this answer, which was right, you're gonna answer it again the same way, and you're sure of your answer, or was it like just um, by chance or guessing, or maybe you had doubts in the second time? Are you that sure that this is the one? This technique is just amazing, actually. I just find it incredible. I've learned it actually. Do it 2 times, 700 questions. Yeah, actually, you would reach a point where you would eat, sleep, drink AML compliance. Example, I went with my friends to buy doner from a restaurant in an area that is not the best in Frankfurt. The minute I stepped foot there, and I've seen a slot machine, like gambling machine, I was like, yeah, that's it. The flags were doing just like that, like the area of the restaurant is a high risk area. The slot machine, the high cash intensive industry, and the owner of the restaurant who's serving us comes from a high risk jurisdiction. So I was out. You're not gonna see anything other than just red flags wherever you go. It was amazing studying with him. He is very careful about our time, about our career. He would like to keep us always on the top of the game, with all due respect to our time. What do I mean? He would be recording, designing, sending separated videos, separated from the sessions, sharing his own experience, where he was, what is he doing right now, what is he going to be doing later, what is his recommendations, what is the relationship between the IT and artificial intelligence and data science, to compliance and AML profession, for example. How could you be always on the top of the game? He gives us plans for 1 year plan, 3 years plan, um, to mirror the future market needs, actually, and always have a decent, good job, and always be wanted and on demand in the market. This was done separately, so it could have been a session stuffing, I would say, especially that by the end of the course you would receive attendance certificate mentioning the number of hours. So it could have been way much more hours done, but this is not even mentioned. It's just separated, and this is only so that he doesn't force someone to see or hear his recommendations. But still, he's doing it like separately, not in the session, but separately. Also, for every course, there will be like a surprise topic, surprise session will be given for free. I was lucky and I got the cryptocurrency one. Was a 7 hours 2 sessions, 7 hours, 2 sessions, not one. And I was issued an attendance certificate for that separately. And of course, he would always, evaluate and test your patience before your knowledge. I think I know, but I would say that I have enjoyed every single minute in this course, from recording in progress until recording has been ended. And on this note, I would say recording has been ended. I wish you the best of luck and goodbye.